Welcome everyone to the March New Elementary School Community Forum. I'm Eric Rubin with Vertex, joined by several members of our school building committee, WT Rich, our construction manager, and DRA, our project architects. We're going to try and go through this presentation pretty quickly so we can get to a question and answer session at the end, but we're happy that you could all join us today. We'll run through the schedule, a quick budget overview, project design updates, construction updates, what we expect this summer, and a brief update on the redistricting process. See if I can, yep, there we go. So just a quick note on our meeting schedule. The school building committee meets typically once a month, and usually the second Wednesday of the month. Those are public meetings, always posted on the town website. Everyone and anyone is welcome to join. We also meet typically bi-weekly with our working group and as needed with the school and town user groups. So the project has been working hard and we keep moving forward here, getting ready for the summer construction to start. With permitting, we've met regularly with, well, we've been meeting with Planning Board, Conservation Commission, and MassDOT. We have a couple more Planning Board hearings coming up in April, as well as at least one more conservation hearing. So we're hoping to wrap up the permitting process this spring and allow us to start work in the summer. Those meetings are also public, and anybody that is interested is welcome to join. Keep moving. So our overall project schedule, right now we are in the middle, nearing the end of design development. Our 60% construction document package was completed and submitted to the MSBA at the beginning of February. Our 90% package will be complete in April, and then our complete bid document package will be finished in June, and that'll go out to the qualified subcontractors. So we are actually in the process of pre-qualifying the subcontractors right now. Our request for qualifications went out earlier this week, and we expect to receive qualification packages from the interested subs in a few weeks, around April 15th. At that point, the qualification package will go out, and the bids, we will send out the bids once the bid document package has been completed in June. In July, we will receive bids from the qualified subcontractors.
They'll tell us the kid, so we are aware, but like they didn't give us a name, so yeah, we know it's a staff. And
we're getting some noise here. Sorry about that. So once the bids go out to the subs, we should receive bids back in July, and by September, we will have a finalized GMP, guaranteed maximum price, for the full package. All of the subcontractors will be brought on board, and this is when our budget really gets finalized. Or at least, we have a set budget that we'll be working within, but at that point, we know really what to expect for the rest of the project. In the meantime, we do have a few early packages that have been going out, and while we wrap up the design, the site package, and soon the rest of the concrete and steel structural package will go out. WT Rich has been working on that with us as we've been moving through the rest of the design. So we have some early site work expected to start in May, pending the final approvals from Conservation and Planning Board. That'll start with laying out some erosion controls and clearing out the trees on the site, followed by some summer work. We do have some ledge on site that we found throughout our geotechnical investigations. So we will have some blasting in probably around July. We will send out all of the appropriate notifications to the calculated zone of neighbors. So you will see that when the time comes, and we're happy to speak a little bit more about that in the question and answer section. Alex from WT Rich, our construction manager, will also speak a little bit more about the construction activities this summer, phasing and logistics. But I'll keep moving here just to get us there. Once our construction starts, we'll be working through 2026, 2027. And in May of 2028, our building should be substantially complete. And at that point, we'll be ready for school to start in the fall. Our punch list and closeout will take us through the end of that year, 2028. So just to touch on the budget, our total project budget is $113 million, $157,878. So that is an all-inclusive budget that includes the $1 million appropriation of the feasibility study and the approved $112 million last spring. That is also inclusive of the construction budget. So all construction items will fall into our construction budget of $91 million. Our latest construction estimate was with the 60% construction document package that came back last month. That had us at 90.5 million. So we are within budget, and we plan to stay that way. We have done a little bit of value engineering work with the building committee in the meantime. So not that it's been required, but they are always cost conscious and seeing where we can save money where appropriate. So we're working on that, and we will expect to receive our 90% cost estimates later this month or in April. So that'll get us an even closer idea of where that budget's going to fall, and then when we do receive the bids, that's when we will know, exactly where we're at. So I will kick it over to Carl with DRA, and he'll start walking us through the design.
Thanks, Eric. Good afternoon, everyone. Carl Franceschi with DRA. Glad to have this opportunity to bring people up to speed. We're excited as we're finishing up the construction documents, as Eric mentioned, and getting ready for construction activity to start. We want to sort of remind people that the design is very consistent with what the town has already seen and voted on. We've really spent the last several months, developing the so-called construction details and documents to allow the bidders to give us a very precise number, in response to the design. But the layout itself has not changed significantly. So just to remind people again, this new school is not literally on the same site as the existing South School. It's off of Park Street. It is set. The site is set way back from the road itself, so unfortunately you can't see it as you drive by to keep track of the progress here. But there is a curb cut there now that you can sort of use as a vantage point or a milestone as to where it is. There's a billboard there for precision door and window. The what's labeled as the Stefano Way here is an old railroad right-of-way, and there is a paved path there now, just to give you an idea of where the site is. But it's some 700 or 800 feet back from Park Street itself. We can go to the next one, Eric, that shows the site in a little more detail. So we have the opportunity here on this parcel of land that the town has owned for quite a while to develop an appropriate site plan that's both kind of environmentally friendly and energy efficient and much more efficiently laid out than the current South School, where there's very limited, vehicular access both for buses and cars. Here we have the opportunity to have a dedicated parent car loop for picking up and dropping off students, a separated bus loop for the 4 or 5 buses that'll serve this new school, and even a dedicated service drive and kindergarten drop off around behind the school. So all of that is very consistent with the design we've shown to date. And the building, as you can see in this site plan, is laid out, is still in the pinwheel fashion with dedicated wings to the building. 2 of the wings are classroom wings. 1 of the wings is the so-called community wing, and the 4th is the, you might say, administrative wing there. And again, the theme here is this is a school in the woods, and so we are trying to preserve significant number of existing trees on the site, as well, to give the building a nice context and a great backdrop for the students and faculty as they utilize the woods as part of the curriculum. Next, Eric, if we sort of zoom in a little bit more on um, the building itself. Um, Here's the main entrance, and again, whether you arrive by car or by on foot or bicycle or get dropped off from a bus, everyone will be entering this sort of entrance courtyard here, where the main entrance to the school is immediately adjacent to the administration for good security and welcoming as well. And there's a dedicated community entrance too to the left there that if there's an event after hours in the cafeteria or the gymnasium or on weekends, the rest of the school can be closed off and that entrance can be used. So that was another goal of the project that we've been developing here as we move forward. And you can see the building is a 3-story building in part, but it's also on the front side here. It's just 1 story tall to try to be a little more friendly to, elementary students and scale and so forth. But it's also, by being 3 stories in the classroom wings, it's kind of a more compact footprint. So we impact less of the site that way and save more trees. So just quickly to look at next, Eric, I think, you can see as we say, the 2 entrances there. Now the floor plans, again, in a little more detail, the blue areas are the classrooms. So we like to refer to them as classroom neighborhoods. There's 1 neighborhood per grade. This is a grade, kindergarten through grade 5 building for up to 600 students. And each of those wings represents a grade. So on the first floor, there's kindergarten and first grade, and then subsequent as we move up the building. The orange areas to the south, that's the community wing, as the large cafeteria space and gymnasium. And then that 4th wing, again, to the right is the administrative wing. And that's, again, 1 story. And in the heart of the building, the red area there is the learning commons. We'll show some renderings in a moment, but it's kind of the current evolution of the library, so to speak, but it has much more than just, a store place for books. It is an activity space, and it really is in the heart of the school that all of the neighborhoods kind of pinwheel off of that space. Going to the 2nd floor next, you can see the plan repeats on the 2nd and 3rd floor for the classroom areas, where the rest of the building drops off at the 1st floor. Each of those wings, they have a slight angle to them that opens up the corridors to have some open space for collaboration and some pull-out space for special needs programs immediately adjacent to the classrooms. There's a teacher's area there in the center of the building, but each of the wings, like we say, is dedicated to a grade. It has its own boys and girls rooms there, and kind of a more neighborhood feeling as a way to break down the scale of the building to be more appropriate for this age group. And then next, there's this great resource available to the town on the school's website, on the both the school department website and the project website, where you can click on each of these QR codes here, and it actually gives you the ability to sort of look around in 3 dimensions at each of these spaces in the building, and it gives you a very good feel for what ultimately will be built there. And we have a few still pictures to show next of those spaces. So here's just coming in the main entrance. You enter right into this learning commons. The main entrance is to the right. There's a stair to bring you up to the 2nd floor directly ahead of you. And to the center of this photo here is the so-called learning commons. It is a multi-story space that, like we say, is the heart of the school. And what you see in kind of the tan yellow color here, those are actually wood structural elements to the building. That's part of the theme of the design, that this is, quote unquote, a school in the woods. And not that we're literally cutting down the trees and transforming them into structural lumber here, but kind of metaphorically we're doing that, I guess you'd say, that we're using the wood, both the vertical columns and the horizontal ceiling members there, that decking, that is all natural real wood that will be used in the project. Next. If we look at one of these classroom neighborhoods, this is that angled space. It's in this case at the lower grades, there are the cubbies for kids to store their backpacks and coats. But there's also sort of breakout areas too, areas for graphics to identify each of these neighborhoods a little bit different from one another. But all of the classrooms open off of these kinds of spaces. As we go up in the building, next, you can see that at the upper grades, there are lockers there for those kids, but it has the same kind of space, very flexible. It gives opportunities to bring groups together or smaller groups to break out to work on a project and so forth. And each of the classrooms open off of this area for each of the classroom neighborhoods. I think we also have next in the cafeteria, which is also the auditorium space. You can see there's large glass areas there, bringing a lot of natural light into the building as well, and has direct access to recess and playground areas right outside the cafeteria. The tables are flexible and can be stored, and the space can be converted into the auditorium space for the school. If we go to the other view of this, you'll see, looking the other direction, there's a small platform stage and curtains and a projection screen, so it can be used, for community events as well as student productions and so forth in this one space. Again, with a lot of natural light being brought in. And likewise, next is the gymnasium, which is not just an elementary school gym. It's actually sized with a adult-sized basketball court. It does have a curtain to divide it into multiple gym stations, but it's also, again, flexible that it could be used for a community, could be used for the high school, JV basketball team to come here and play and so forth. And again, take advantage of the north-facing light here, so we get natural light into this space as well. So I think those are the renderings that we wanted to share with you. And just to remind everyone, again, this is going to be a very energy efficient and environmentally friendly building with a lot of sustainability aspects to it. It will be registered. It is registered with the U.S. Green Building Council, seeking at least a LEED silver registration. It might actually achieve gold certification. So, and one of the particular aspects to it is that it is an all-electric building. There are no fossil fuels being burned here, but it also has geothermal ground source heat pumps being used for a portion of the building, both for heating and air conditioning, where wells are driven into the ground, and we take advantage of the sort of natural difference in temperature there with heat exchangers in the building. So it's a very efficient, sustainable building, both in first cost and in energy cost going forward. So I think those are what we wanted to talk about from a design point of view, and now we can turn it over to WT Rich team and Alex to talk about construction activities.
Thanks, Carl. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. My name's Alex Corbett with WT Rich. I'm a senior project manager. I've been with them for 7 or 8 years now at this point. Echoing Carl's sentiments, really excited to get this project underway. Before we get into the logistics, I did want to just kind of briefly talk traffic and how it's going to impact the community as this project gets underway. So our proposed plan is to use Route 24 as the artery. I believe exit 33B gets you both onto Route 27 coming north and south. And that's going to be our main access path for larger construction vehicles, steel trucks, concrete trucks, things of that nature. And, that's really keeping in mind the neighborhoods that surround this area, Stoughton Center, downtown Stoughton, avoiding that area to the best of our ability. So that's kind of, I just wanted to kick us off saying, we understand the impact that construction has to a community, and this is sort of our proposal on trying to mitigate some of that disruption to your day-to-day life. Eric, you can go to the next slide. So hopefully many of you have seen these logistics plans. I did want to note they're from our proposal for this project in August of last year. Carl's renderings and images are a lot more updated than what we have shown here, but the concepts and the scheduling and the timing all remain the same. So again, Eric mentioned earlier, we're just in the midst of getting started on a site enabling package. The work is mostly tree protection, erosion controls, and clearing the site, really enabling the site to be able to continue with building construction as we come out of this phase and more into the middle of summer of this year. So as we get into July and the summer months of 2026, again, we've enabled the site, quote unquote. We're now getting ready to start our site utilities, site drainage, really getting the building pad, which is essentially the footprint of the new school, prepared for foundations, concrete and steel as we get into fall of 2026. So again, this is sort of the next layer in phasing that happens coming out of, call it May-ish of 2026 with the enabling into the summer months of really site preparation as we get into the building construction process. As you can see here, we're into August of this year. It's really going to come up quick. And I should note, we're talking 24 months in about 2 minutes here. So it's the fastest construction project you'll ever see today. But it is going to go fast. I mean, we're talking, what, 4 months, 5 months from now, we're getting into concrete foundations and ultimately steel in the building superstructure. Carl mentioned the geothermal wells. You can see at the top of the site here, north area of the site. That's where the geothermal wells will be under the future play field. So that's another activity that we're going to want to try to get in sooner rather than later, as it opens up quite a bit of space for us on site. Again, moving in towards the end of this year, we've got the majority of superstructure done with the steel, the mass timber that Carl mentioned. Those wood beams and columns in the heart of the school are installed at this point, and we're really getting into enclosing the building with sheathing, ultimately getting prepared for waterproofing, and then getting into the masonry, the brick, the fiber cement panels, and the metal wall panels that we have on the building. At this point, we'd also try to get some asphalt pavement down, probably in a binder course scenario, just to try to clean up the site and make it as usable as possible as we're getting into the winter and some of the colder, messier months. Fast forward to the spring of 2027, you can see how the site and the building has really developed. Again, we're probably at this point continuing with the brick and wall panel installation. We're getting heavy into the interior finishes. The mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection systems are being built within the school. We're getting prepared to activate the permanent building systems, the rooftop units, the heat pumps, the switch gear, and really getting a lot of the mechanical systems fine-tuned at this point, pretty much all of next year. Really hitting the ground running once that building is enclosed to getting the building in good shape inside. And moving outside, we're going to be able to start some of the concrete sidewalks, some of the landscaping, early landscaping, making sure we sync up with the planting seasons that are required for those, getting into playgrounds and some of the other site finishes throughout the site. And here we are 2 minutes later, right? We're at the end of the construction process. We're currently targeting May of 2028. And the idea is to really get the building in a place that can be turned over to the school for furnishings and equipment, and really kind of get the school and the community feeling comfortable well ahead of the start of the fall 2028 school year. So we feel really comfortable with this schedule, and we feel like it's at a good spot where, again, the school and the community can be prepared to take over their building well ahead of occupying that and getting students in the building come that following fall.
All right, I think
Thank you,
that's,
Alex.
thanks, Alex. I think
Thank you.
that's me. Juliet Miller, Superintendent-elect. Really excited to spend some time with you this afternoon. The district is engaging in a redistricting process in alignment with the construction of the new elementary school, since that will result in the closure of 2 elementary schools. This is obviously a necessary step to ensure we are using our facilities efficiently while also supporting our students equitably. We are currently in the process of securing a third-party partner to conduct a comprehensive analysis of the district. And this work will include enrollment projections, geographic heat mapping, and the development of multiple scenarios for consideration. Community voice is a critical part of our process, and we are committed to making sure that we provide multiple opportunities for families and staff and community members to offer feedback and input before any final decisions are made. There is also a dedicated redistricting page on our school's website, on the district's website, which will be updated regularly as we move through the process, through each phase of the process. As we move forward, several key factors will guide our decision-making: alignment with the district master plan, support for our elementary educational plan, accommodating increasing enrollment and evolving student needs, expansion of programming, including elementary STEM opportunities, consideration of maintenance and operating costs, travel distances between schools, efficient use of shared resources, and reduction or reducing duplication of resources across buildings. Our goal is to reach a final decision approximately 1 year prior to the opening of the new school. And that timeline is intentional to allow for thoughtful planning, smooth transitions for students and families, and appropriate consideration of staffing and budget implications. We will continue to keep the community informed as this work progresses, and we look forward to engaging with you throughout the process. Hand it back to Eric.
Thank you, Julie. I think that brings us to the end. We'll open it up to questions, comments from this group, the attendees. We thank you all for coming. Do you guys have any questions? You can click the raise hand button if you can find it on your screen, and we'll call you in order. Not seeing any. If not, thank you all for coming.
Eric, with one quick comment that one of the attendees made. They wanted a link to the presentation. We'll upload that to the project website and also post it on social media. So that will be done within probably today.
Yeah. Thank you. Did I see a question from Peg, or was that the question?
That was the question.
That was the question.
Great. All right. Well, thank you all. If you have any other questions, we do have a project email. I'm not sure if it's maybe at the beginning of the presentation, but I believe it's Jeff, do you know the email offhand? Might be maybe at the beginning.
Yes, I'm going to paste it into the chat. It is newelementaryschool@stoughtonschools.org.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's everything.